In this video, we're going to talk about the PTS Destroyed, and the fight becomes personal with Peter K. Yarn and Quinlan. You'll see what I mean when we go into this issue. Alrighty then, this is a comic book review of Rat City, issue number 11, brought to you by RatedComics. Let's get to it. So previously in Rat City, on the run from PTS, Peter and Quinlan have to abandon Rat City and seek refuge in the wild. But before we can go there, we got to go back to PTS headquarters a little bit. We see Dr. Bose is looking at his latest creation and he is pleased at what he sees. And his creation also thanks him for creating him. You'll see who it is in it momentarily. So Dr. Bose tells his newest creation, like, didn't I tell you that I would take care of everything? Oh, yes, you did. But now Dr. Bose is interrupted by Dr. Nomis, and Dr. Nomis tells him that the chairman is dead. And Dr. Bose is like, never trust the news in this city. All they put out is clickbait. And she's like, well, human resources confirmed it. Well, says Dr. Bose, no one lives forever. Come to the roof with me, doctor. Help me launch this new innovation. Despite it being a robotics expert, I am quite impressed of myself, even though I'm not a robotics expert. And this lady is like, it is horrifying. Yes, it is. But you know what? Dr. Ammon, who is his newest creation right now, upgraded and looking more horrific and brutal than before, he will prove to be useful to us once again. Now, just so you guys know, if you guys forgot who Dr. Ammon is, even though he's a co-worker for Dr. Bose, he got worked and he got smoked in Rat City issue number 5 or 6, I believe, by Peter K. when he was the Deviant, and now Dr. Bose has resurrected him for his own personal use. So meanwhile, at the Palisades Cliff of New Jersey, Peter K. and Quinlan are hiding, and they've been hiding out for weeks now. And Peter K. asks Quinlan, whatever happened to taking down the PTS? Whatever happened to doing it for Reese? Reese is Peter K.'s homie and also Quinlan's former lover. And Quinlan's like, we tried that and look where it got us. You know, we're on the fugitive now. We're fugitives now. And there's more blood on both of our hands. You may be used to it, Peter, but I'm not. And Peter K. is like, come on now, you know that's not fair. You're right, and I'm sorry, it's not ideal, but you know what, Peter? We're surviving. It's like what you always said, adapt or die, right? So these other homeless people are like, I don't like the look of these two nobies, and this other guy's like, mind your business, alright? They're just trying to survive like us. So Peter tells Quinlan, look, my legs are killing me, and I need to stretch out. So Quinlan's like, can I go with you? And Peter's like, no, stay here, I'll be back, just give me some time to think, alright? And he walks away. So Quinlan is feeling guilty about what happened previously. Since he used the EMP blast in a couple issues back, the suit hasn't came back, and that was their best defense against the PTS. Now they're dead in the water because of Quinlan. At least he believes. So they're so far north that they can't even see Rat City. And maybe that's a good thing and maybe it's not. But this burner phone that Quinlan has so little tech on it that he could barely find out the weather or at least catch up on the news. But almost everyone at this encampment is anti-tech. So this guy goes up to Quinlan like, look, I know you. You look familiar. No, says Quinlan, we're not from around here. My friend and I were just kipping around for a bit before we head west. Oh yeah, says the homeless guy. What's your name? And Quinlan's like, Robert, and he has to use the wallet name, that way people don't recognize him, but he didn't have no choice even though he didn't want to do it. So the homeless guy is like, where you boys from? Before Quinlan can even answer that, we see Dr. Ammon, and Dr. Ammon is coming in hot. But Quinlan over here is taking a hike, walking away, being peaceful, and talking to his buddy Reese. And he's like, look, I don't know if I can help Quinlan, and I don't know if Quinlan can help me, but you gotta give me a sign, Reese, that I'm doing the right thing. And a sign he sees by the look of this castle over here. And Quinlan's like, okay, that's a hell of a sign you just gave me, Reese. Allegedly, but I gotta see where this leads to. So Ammon is coming in hot, and Dr. Bose is telling him, remember, locate K-Yarn and Wally, and he's scanning only for sentient organic life. And as he's scanning, K-Yarn is his top priority. So this homeless guy begins to, or persistently continues to question Quinlan, and he's like, I asked you a question. Look, Quinlan says, we don't want any trouble. Oh, you being here is enough trouble. You and your friend come up in here with your technology? Are you from the security forces, huh? You here to bust us? And Quinlan's like, hey, don't don't mess with me. You don't want none of this smoke. And this guy's like, really, bro? You don't scare me one bit, kid. And you don't have your friend here to help you out. So before he can do any kind of damage to Quinlan, the people in the encampment are telling them to take cover because something's here and they don't know what it is. And Dr. Ammon, even though we know it's Dr. Ammon, they don't know that. All they see is this humanoid guy on a mission to end somebody, and he's looking for smoke. And Quinlan knows he's looking for smoke, and he recognizes that that's Dr. Ammon. So he's got to take cover and find Peter. And he doesn't know what kind of Frankenstein stuff that Ammon was turned into, but he's tossing these people around like rag dolls, and he feels like crap for not helping anyone out. And he was selfish, but he had to find Peter. And he's so terrified and so scared that while he's running, these thorns, these tree branches are ripping his clothes and scratching his face, but it's all in the name of trying to find Peter K-Yarn. So Peter is kind of pretending to talk to his buddy Reese, even though he's dealing with some post-trauma right now. He's just kind of at himself, so he needs someone to talk to, and maybe Quinlan is not really the one to talk to that he feels he can relate to. So he's telling Reese that it's been a long time and this feels peaceful. But before any peace can be had, Quinlan yells out Peter's name, and Peter recognizes that voice, and Dr. Ammon comes in, and Peter recognizes it, and Dr. Ammon comes in from the back just like that. And yeah, we're gonna enjoy that image right there for a second because this video is sponsored by coffee. So if you'd like to buy a boy a cup of coffee, link in description, or donate to the super thanks. And also, we also have a membership if you want to show us some love on this channel, if you feel that we're adding value and entertainment to you while you're watching this comic book review, because you could watch any other comic book YouTube channel for comic book content, but you chose to watch this, and I appreciate that. So if you want to show us some love, you're more than welcome to as well by being a member. And also, the greatest compliment you guys can do is by liking and subscribing to this channel. But with all that being said, let's get right back into the content. So Dr. Ammon takes Peter up in the air, and he tells Dr. Bose that the target has been acquired, and Peter recognizes Dr. Bose. Really? Oh, hail to the nah. And Dr. Bose is like, good, Ammon, now bring him to me. Quinlan is looking in fear, and all Peter can do is show Dr. Ammon these hands. But Dr. Ammon is like, your attempts to show me your hands are ineffectual, alright? So quit your antics, says Dr. Ammon. And also Dr. Bose is like, look, man, stop playing around with your food. He doesn't have to be conscious to be useful, alright? And Dr. Ammon's like, oh, really? Okay, I understand. So he takes him higher into the sky, and these homeless people get up, and this guy who was picking on Quinlan earlier looks like he's dead, but this other guy's like, if he's dead, then I call dibs on his tent. But even though we had a little humorous moment right there, now we go back to Dr. Ammon and Peter K-Yarn. And Dr. Ammon tells K-Yarn that you had a chance to resolve this peacefully, Lieutenant K-Yarn. And Peter K-Yarn's like, okay, well, speaking of peace, let me go. And Dr. Ammon's like, okay, let you go, literally? All right, here you go. He literally lets him go and impales himself on his tree branch as he falls to his apparent death. So Quinlan's like, oh my God, Peter, let me help you. There's so much blood. And Ammon's like, Quinlan, Raleigh, if you don't stop interfering, you need to run, all right? So he waves a gesture which knocks Quinlan back really hard to the ground. And he was so dazed that he barely saw Dr. Ammon pull out a freaking saw. And he chops the branch that's protruding from Peter K-Yarn. So he looks and he sees like, hey, Peter is dead. Is he really dead? He had to be dead, right? But something happens, and the deviant is about to wake up and potentially lay smoke on Dr. Ammon again. So that is the end of this issue of Rat City, issue number 11, that the PTS is destroyed and the fight becomes personal because Ammon wants revenge, and Peter K-Yarn is not going to make it easy on him. So what you guys think of this comic book? Comment below, let me know, and also link in description if you wish to add this comic book and or any of our other limited print rated comic exclusives to add to your comic book collection. Support the art, support the industry. With all that being said, thank you again for watching. Until the next upload.